All right, it seems there's quite a bit to talk about on this, my last Locked On Coyotes. Let's hit this new intro, Robyn.
Your Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, number one daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. Interesting that we got this this new intro from our network at this point in our show, with the future of the name of the show unknown because of the relocation. But you know what? We're going to talk about other things relocation-wise. You get a lot of developments since the 36-hour episode, the day after episode that I posted with Carl Pavlok, when we started saying, here's some of the developments that we found out. More developments come out in just the last 48 hours, and I'm just like, and we are just so much to digest, Matthew.
I didn't sleep for like 2 days. I'm telling it, my media career is over, Robyn. Like, legitimately, it might not be, but like, my media career is over, Robyn. And I legit sat up like Friday night or Saturday night, one of the two, just like on the phone doing like actual attempted reporting. I don't do journalisms, but like actually attempted to get information and get sources. And you were one of the people I was talking to. And oh my God, this, I'm just gonna say this right now. This is going to be glorious. Okay, small preview. There are two scenarios here. One where Alex Morello is an underdog anime protagonist just trying to do the right thing. And there's another where he's the villain of the story, like the cartoonish bad guy. And I genuinely cannot wait to talk about both possibilities because they are both equally ridiculous in that over-the-top sense. Robyn, do you want to start us off, or like where do you want to go?
I mean, let's first and foremost clear up some of the things that initially were said in the previous episode of unknowns of what exactly is going to be happening to the Arizona Coyotes, right? Let's start off with that. And I think to give some people a baseline understanding of what's happening, if you were alive through these times, a lot of people who are older than us likely were, because it was pretty late in the 90s. If I want to give a comparison to what exactly is going on to this situation, it is the exact same situation that happened with the previous iteration of the Cleveland Browns NFL team when they moved to Baltimore to become the Baltimore Ravens, and they were and Jim Brown was promised an expansion team to create the Cleveland Browns once again. Same situation, same exact situation.
How long apart was that, Robyn? How long did they have to wait?
About 3-4 years, somewhere around there.
So, I'll use that as a segue. I had a source. Every single thing I'm about to tell you, I wouldn't present to you unless I thought the people I talked to were credible enough. But obviously, grain of salt, this is still a very fluid situation, and people can only know what they're told.
Yeah.
I had a source tell me that Morello is going to still pretty much like move forward to getting this done in the exact same timeline, meaning the arena should still be open. The projections are 2027. I've already said on Twitter, but I'll say it on this show. One of my sources said that within the league, 2028 seemed optimistic. So a little bit of asterisks there, but I was told by this one source, it'll be open by 2027, and they're supposed to essentially immediately get an expansion team. I would love that, and I'm going to tell you right now, Robyn, if that is what happens, if 100% that is what happens, I will forgive this situation, and I will gladly find an outlet to cover the AHL team or whatever for 3 years until we're ready to do Coyotes hockey again. What do you think the actual percentage possibility of that is, though, Robyn? Like your gut.
My gut, honestly, I think there's a pretty decent chance. Because here's the thing. Yes, sir. Alex Morello still needs to win the auction on June 27th to even be considered for the opportunity to get that to initiate the expansion draft in like 2027 or 2028 when the project is finished. So that's still an if. However, I am assuming he does, and he does get that done. Like, I think this is one of the reasons why the promise was made. So he's not coming down kicking and screaming, because he's retaining the rights to the Arizona Coyote, essentially the Arizona Coyotes, like trademarks and names. He still owns all that. And we'll get to some of the meaning behind that, some of the other things later in the show. So he still holds on to that. The Coyotes, and I believe Elliot Friedman on 31 Thoughts put a really pretty quick, good thought about it. Is they're essentially going inactive. The Coyotes as a team is going inactive. Ryan Smith is taking control of just everything else.
It's basically an expansion team without an expansion draft. Like it's like a one-team expansion draft, like the best way to try to describe it, or the Baltimore Ravens thing.
The Baltimore Ravens thing makes the most. Yeah, I think it's just it is the easiest parallel we can make. Is everything down to the finest detail the same thing as that NFL situation? No, there's a lot of more complicated moving parts on this situation. But I do believe that it will happen. However, and as like you said, 2028 is optimistic. I have a reason to believe that I think 5 years is probably the timeline that we're looking at. So we're looking at 2029.
Do you want to get into what we heard about why this was triggered? Obviously, I think Elliot Friedman talked a little bit about this, but I did have one source who helped me a lot and also helped use some of their sources. So obviously, disclosure before presenting it to you. I was told that it was a PA thing. It was not the way some of you might think, though. The PA essentially viewed that 5th and 6th year trying to extend the Mullet contract as a breach of contract, and they threatened to sue. I was told Alex Morello said, "Bring it on. We'll see you in court." And it was told to me that it was Gary, but obviously you can use Board of Governors, the league, NHL as a synonym here. Just said, "We're not doing this. We're not going to war with our players. We're not doing a lawsuit over this. Sell the team. We will give you your team back. Like, we will still let you pursue this."
And here's the thing that I want to make sure everyone says is Alex Morello wasn't forced to do it, technically. So for all intents and purposes, yes, he was not forced to do it. The Board of Governors didn't convene and vote Alex Morello out. No, that's not what's happening. They are just like, look, it's best for these players and best for the league, best for you that we let this happen, that this goes down.
So ultimately, it's fair to say it's a league decision, but Morello still had to agree to it. And I was straight up told, he said $1 billion. Like, that's his bottom, that's his bottom dollar to sell off of it, because let's just say he holds a lot of cards. Elliot Friedman was very accurate when he said he holds a lot of cards. Yeah.
That $1 billion is, I guess, if everything is what we're though, and we're going to get coming up on a break against here. So I want to say this. One of the things that we're going to make sure everyone knows is that $1 billion that he gets from the sale, you'll have to give right back to trigger the expansion draft.
So essentially, he's getting a free expansion team when you think about it, or at least for the value of the original Coyotes. It's a really weird roundabout thing, but either he's going to profit heavily and run, or that $1 billion is essentially a temporary transaction.
Yeah, no. And if it's the latter, I mean, if it's the former, then I can understand the Coyotes fans' hate and frustration. But if it's the latter, I mean, at least give the dude some credit. He did what he could.
Yeah, at the very like I said, there is legitimately two possibilities here of what Alex Morello is. I'm gonna give more of my opinions later, but I will make sure to state they are opinions that are mine and not anybody else's. But we do need to take a very quick break for my last ad read, Robyn. And today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the price you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit available only for U.S. customers.
Ooh, let's keep things going on today's Locked On Coyotes. Robyn Leonio, Matthew Jacobson for one last episode. I'm staying around, guys. No need to worry. Matthew Jacobson's on his last episode as co-host of this show.
I'll make some guest appearances. Like I have no problem making a couple of guest appearances just in the this little interim window leading up to the auction. But like, I'm just gonna be honest with everyone here. I kind of already said it on Twitter, but like just to say it on the actual show, I'm an Arizona boy, born and raised. I bleed Coyote red. I couldn't look myself in the mirror if I tried to cover a team that, like in the city that stole my team. I don't care like about Salt Lake or Kansas City or Colorado or whatever. I am an Arizona boy. I cover Arizona. So
yep.
I do want to.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you personally for reaching out to me and giving me this opportunity. It's definitely been quite a ride, and I have no regrets. I got to thank Sean. I got to thank David Locke. I have a lot of people to thank, and this opportunity has been great. The people that listen that for whatever reason are seemingly going to miss me when I'm gone. I salute you. I don't know what Stockholm syndrome you got wanting to listen to this fat guy talk about hockey, but you know what? I appreciate the Stockholm syndrome.
Oh, well, Matthew, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on, having you as a co-host of this show for the last year. And I will say it's been, I think a lot of people have said that we made a pretty good team on this show, because you had the professional in me, you had the journalist, someone with a journalism degree, and the boisterous fan. It worked. It really did. And I feel like a lot of you guys appreciated that. I want to make everyone, like those that are following the team and going to continue to be fans of the team, when they move to Utah, this show will essentially be rebranded as Locked On Team name to be decided. And I will stay on. I will stay on as the host. No, I am not moving to Utah, at least not for the foreseeable future, but I'll still cover the team to be a voice for you guys. And to Utah fans tuning in, I welcome you to our channel.
And just so you guys know, the second that rebrand happens, whatever my last appearance was my last appearance. just for putting it out there. But hey, Robyn, we got some more spice to talk about, because I was told the fallout's going to be I'm going to tell you this, because I've been told this by multiple people, multiple people, probably a handful, more than a handful. I can't keep track. Alex, if you're watching, you better pay that severance. You better take good care of your employees, because I've been told by multiple of them, they're all talking. And as pretty sure Robyn can attest, a lot of them have been. And the next story I'm going to tell you is one of the dumbest things I heard, and the only reason I am now optimistic about it is because I was specifically told that Morello has every intention of winning the auction and getting this team back within 5 years. So I am willing to swallow my pride here. The Roadrunners are supposed to be moving into Mullet Arena.
Yes.
Now, I cannot confirm any talks have happened. I find it very unlikely any talks have happened yet. And I understand it's going to be a lower priority thing. but it's just one of those things to keep an eye on because it is still not final.
Well, I'll tell you this, Matthew. Based off the information I have been told, that I have been able to gather from sources, that is indeed in motion. The Tucson Roadrunners will be moving to Mullet Arena.
Oh, no, Robyn. The Tucson Roadrunners are not. No,
I will get to that a little bit later.
No, Robyn. Robyn.
No, Robyn. Right. So, all right.
Remember, everything's a legend. I believe this. It's stupid, but everything's a legend. It's your source.
This is also what I'm hearing. There's multiple things I'm hearing, but the Tucson Roadrunners will be rebranded. They will retain the Arizona Coyotes name.
And I was also told that the logo will not be the Kachina. I was told that. I'm not sure how much of this part I should say. I should say that I was told that it's farther along than people think, and there is already, at the very least, a conceptual logo, and it is not the Kachina. But essentially, the Arizona Coyotes or Tempe Coyotes or Phoenix Coyotes, whatever they're going to land on, are going to be a minor league team now. And I was told the reasoning behind this was primarily to keep the brand alive. They do not want the brand to die. And a positive residual, Robyn, is one of the main reasons. And this is probably the reason I support this move. It sucks for Tucson fans. You guys are still a couple hours away from your team. It's still within your market. You're not losing them all the way to Salt Lake. So the only reason I genuinely support this.
I will say this though, as a previous Tucsonan, the 2-hour drive up to Phoenix sucks. I always hated it.
2-hour drive down sucks, but I was gonna say, okay, the only reason I support it is because I was also told, and it was pretty heavily reported, that they're also going to continue to fund youth hockey in the Phoenix area, and this is another way they can do it.
Thank you for saying that. I was going to add on to that. I think that is the most important part. And if that was part of Alex Morello's goal on moving the team up here and keeping that happening, I will thank you, Alex Morello, for doing that. Because youth hockey in Arizona is super important. That's one of the things I think a lot of us were worried about. The breaking of the community, the shriveling up of the youth hockey scene. We're talking the, Arizona Kachinas, the Junior Coyotes, the Little Howlers, other programs, the adult league that I play in. It's usually like the league I play in is independently funded for the most part, but the Coyotes were a pretty decent supporter on that. So the fact that is still happening, I think that they are doing it for that, for that as a purpose. I got to give them credit. I got to give them so much credit for that.
Small asterisk, though, and take it with a grain of salt. I had somebody else tell me that while that is true, it is likely to be scaled back from what it is currently. And on the surface, that shouldn't surprise me, but it still sucks.
It's a little bit less
scaled back.
Yeah, a little bit less funding because you're running with the operating cost of the operating and revenue of an AHL team versus an NHL team. I mean, I get it. It makes sense.
However, at least they'll still have funding because it would die a lot quicker if there wasn't.
Here's the thing. I know from information that I've also been able to gather, the Arizona Kachinas were going independent, have full plans of going independent, including the fact that Lindsey Fry is moving to become a full-time coach for the Arizona Kachinas. So, it makes sense, that they can scale it back a little bit because one of the major pieces of it can fund itself.
Do you want to take the last ad break, or do you want to get to the prominent businessman?
Let's get to the last ad break. Let's get to that. That
was a good tease. That was a very good tease.
Prominent businessman. We're going to talk about that right after this. And today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. The NHL season is now just about over. The Arizona Coyotes have one game left in the regular season, regardless of where they are in the standings. I know they're not going to the playoffs, that's for sure. I want to remind you that you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is the number one choice for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you got to do is pick whether or not studs like, let's say, Dylan Guenther will record more or less than their Sleeper projections, or things like goals, assists, plus minus, or more in a given game. To win 100 times your bet, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Coyotes fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper terms of use for details and locational availability.
Robyn, did you hear anything about this, or am I the only one that, like, do I have to take full charge here? Because I have very limited.
Let's hear what you got.
Okay, so I was told, and this is very limited, not a whole lot of other people are willing to tell me anything on this, so this has to be a grain of salt. I was told that a prominent businessman attempted to buy the team, and Alex said no, which is why when I tweeted out, Alex is taking the Coyotes down with them, because essentially it was proposed to me or pitched to me that Alex Morello would rather, like, this is his market, this is his team, he will not sell, he will not move on in this market, nobody else can buy them, is essentially how that was pitched to me. Nobody would tell me specifically who it was. If you are reading in between the lines, you might know who it was implied to be, though it was never outright stated that it was that individual. So I'm not going to report it as such, but just keep in mind that's how it was implied to me.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. I feel like that's something that, like, I think a lot of people keep close to their chest. And if it's something that's like, look, it didn't really mean it didn't really come to anything anyways. Not very many people are going to touch something like that, right? They were like, yeah, it didn't matter. Team's moving.
Did you want the other tiny tidbit I was given? This requires like go to your cabinet and take an entire thing of salt and chug it. Don't actually do that, but like, take this for what it is. It was pitched to me as a bar pitch. All right, heavy asterisks. The conceptual possibility of a Doan-led group. Essentially, Shane would be the face of whatever that group was. However, I do not have any confirmation that did materialize, and or that was the prominent businessman or group that allegedly attempted to acquire the Coyotes. Allegedly.
Yeah. And those are only things like you've been saying. I think that we need to just emphasize, take a report like that with a grain of salt, even smaller than a grain of salt.
I'm just giving you everything else I have because I'm not going to have the platform anymore, regardless of how out there it is. As long as I give you the proper context, Robyn, I'm pretty sure you can confirm this or not. I think that's doing proper due diligence and integrity by being like, here is the exact way to take this information with a fistful of salt.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah.
Is there any information you had on that? Were you hearing similar things?
Any of that? I wasn't hearing anything on that end. And I think at this point, there really isn't anything to say on my end about it. Mm-hmm. Knowing what I know now, knowing the Morello Group is likely holding on to the Coyotes brand, as we mentioned, moving the Roadrunners up here under the Coyotes name, and like you mentioned, continuing to pour money into the youth hockey scene. Those are the only things I've heard as of right now. And I'm still getting slowly some other information from some outside sources, some inside sources, people telling me things. But we want to get you guys all the info you can, and give you as much of a dump before the rebrand happens and we become officially Locked On team name pending.
Would you like to hear my speculation?
Maybe.
This is 120% speculation. I will explain what tiny bits of evidence support it. However, this is a theory. This is Robyn letting me have some fun and me going out with a bang. It's the best way to say this. Morello can only get that expansion team in that 5-year exclusive window if he meets X, Y, and Z, correct? He has these caveats he has to hit.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first one is the auction. We had a report come out that's hard to verify, but great. Might as well throw it on the pile that competing developers want the land. They were not comfortable betting against Morello because they did not want to be seen as running the Coyotes out of town. Supposedly, that's changed, and Morello has a target on his back. I was told by a source when I brought that information to them that they'd still be running the Coyotes out of town because Morello's still trying to buy the land to bring them back. There is a possibility. I genuinely believe somebody here is playing 4D chess. I just don't know who won yet. I don't. It's probably Ryan Smith, but
could be.
There's a possibility. These stipulations are going to be so high that one of two things could happen. Number one, Morello decides it's simply not worth it, takes his billion and walks. By doing that, as long as he does overtly break a clause, let's say he doesn't show up to the auction, that's one. The NHL could pretty much immediately go to that alleged prominent businessman and give him an expansion franchise, and the Coyotes are back a lot sooner than you think, including potentially playing that last year at Mullet. But that one would legitimately require Morello to walk away and then either agree to sell to that local businessman, or the NHL doesn't finalize with Smith, finalizes with the businessman anyway, and then looks at Ryan Smith and says, "Hey, thanks for playing your part, Utah 2026." But that's 0.0001%. That's
because we're talking because you're talking about something who can come in at the 11th hour, right? Yeah. Because based off of information we've been told, the sale is supposed to be done early this week.
Yeah, it's supposed to be tying up that bow. This relocation is 99.99% happening.
Verbal agreement already in place. Most of the stipulations are being taken care of. Some are still being taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And the ink will be dry, by the end of this week.
Now, here is the worst of the two scenarios, and this is why I hate to say this, but I have to be honest. If this is playing out the way it is being told to us, to all of us, publicly, we should want Morello to be the owner of the new team, because alternatively, the prominent businessman does not exist. The NHL just wanted to get rid of Morello. The stipulations are going to be high because they know that he can't hit them, and they're going to wait until someone comes along. It could be Ishbia in the 2030s when he's already negotiating for a new Suns arena. Could be then. It could be that mystery third buyer that Craig Morgan was talking a little bit about a month ago. That could materialize. Hell, they could even go the route of selling to the tribe. Unlikely. Very, 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 very unlikely. But what that essentially means that if they just wanted to get rid of Morello, they don't have anyone else lined up, and it's just this is a way to pacify him and get him to go away. We're not seeing hockey here until optimistically the 2030s. And that is optimistically. So that's why I am saying this.
That's why you want Morello to win here.
Look, I don't like Alex Morello, and if what I've been told is accurate, and I do believe it is, a lot of reputations are going to be destroyed. A lot of people are going to talk. There could be a 30 for 30. I was not told by ESPN there's going to be a 30 for 30, but like it was like an example of like a documentary of what happened, essentially.
I mean, look, Craig Morgan talked about writing a book about all of this.
So it's as bad as I have heard the Morellos are. Unless you genuinely believe Gary is pulling an 800 IQ 4D chess switcheroo at the last second and the team's not actually leaving, unless you believe that, as of this moment, unless more information comes out, which I don't know if it's going to, we are kind of stuck with Morello if we want NHL hockey back anytime soon.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, with most of the staff at this point already clued in on what's going on, actually been talked to by their higher ups.
Finally.
Finally. It's like this is inevitable. We're talking a 99.9% chance, 99.999. Like it's.
Again, I will give the exact quote one more time. Reputations are going to be destroyed or going to be like that. It is allegedly not a good situation. I know a decent amount of it. I've been knowing about a decent amount of it for a while. They did, thankfully, finally inform their employees of something, but the fact that it was only after the story got out, Alex and the crew and whoever is running it and whoever ended up, talking to the employees, you guys don't get credit for that. Because that was a media thing, not a you thing. The employees deserve better. This is my last time with this platform. I want to say it right here. The Coyotes employees deserved better. They did not deserve to be strung out like they were. They did not deserve to have Alex publicly saying that he's going to talk to him and never doing that. They didn't deserve to, and I quote, fear for their jobs. They did not deserve that. And while I feel for a lot of these people, I'm friends with people that work for the Coyotes, like personal friends. Like it hurt my heart to hear what some of these people are what these people are going through. Allegedly, I don't think it's alleged, but for legal purposes, I do have to say allegedly. And I am beyond disgusted that it got to this point, and I hate that I'm saying this. Despite all of that, as of right now, Coyotes fans should want Morello because that is the only way we are going to get our team back. As of right now, barring more information. And I genuinely hope that Craig Morgan comes out tomorrow with a giant article and, this is actually what's happening. I would love that. I want that alternative option. I do not want Morello involved. If he is, as some people have portrayed, just a well-meaning businessman that lets the clowns run the asylum, that doesn't care about day-to-day operations, is super hands-off, and he didn't know what was going on. I highly doubt it, but play with me here, okay? And that's what's going on. He wants to get this done. And he wants to do right by the fans. Cool. We could talk about a redemption arc. Fine. I will swallow my pride and deal with it and grit my teeth for my team back. However, I do not want him. I want anybody else. I desperately want that prominent businessman to be an accurate story. I desperately want Gary Bettman to be playing 4D chess here. I want a scenario in which this team either does not leave and it's under new management, or they're gone for 5 years or less and they're brought back under a new owner. That is what I would prefer. But the most likely scenario is that Alex Morello is the one who's going to bring back NHL hockey.
Fair enough. We're running overtime on this episode, but I do want to bring up some final points about this, as Matthew had like a freaking 5-minute long monologue.
It's the last one I get.
Anyways, some last things I want to put out. I said this on Friday, and I will say this again, Matthew. A lot of you guys, and I get it, I get it right now. Emotions are running high. You are angry, you are disappointed, you are heartbroken, you are whatever you're feeling. A lot of you guys have said that you will refuse to support any Alex Morello franchise or anything Alex Morello, knowing that I think a lot of you guys have heard, even before we talked about it on this show, that he'll be likely holding on to the AHL version of the Coyotes, aka currently the Tucson Roadrunners, and said you'll refuse to go to those games because you're giving Alex Morello money. I beg of you guys, please. Again, like I said, I know your emotions are running high, but please don't do that. If you are, and this is the hockey fan in me, and not the reporter. This is the hockey fan in me. You are proving to everybody else outside of Arizona, all those northern, hockey fans, that hockey doesn't belong in Arizona because you're not supporting hockey in Arizona.
I'm going to one of these Tucson games. I might go to 2.
I will definitely be going down for the playoffs. I'll see what the rest it is, but because it's gonna be a whiteout. Speaking of which, another bit of my final thoughts here, and as we get getting close to the 40-minute mark on here, but you know what? We need to get this out. Did you see, Matthew, that some fans are trying to put together a one final whiteout on Wednesday's game?
I did, and we got to make sure everyone's doing it.
Yeah, that's why I want to bring it up because again, we are a podcast. We try to maintain some profession. I try to maintain some professional at the very least. And I know Matthew is the fan. He's the boisterous one of this.
She's trying to say show. I don't belong on a podcast because I'm just a jackass. I get it. I understand what you're trying to say.
There's a reason why you're leaving. I'm just kidding.
Wow. She actually kicked me out the door. If you didn't know that, she actually told me, "Hey, kick rocks, buddy. I don't want you here."
No, that's definitely not what happened, guys. Matthew left on his own on his own decision. But no, it's yeah. I'm just saying, if you want to do that, absolutely, I love it. I love the idea. So if you're a fan of this podcast, I'll advocate it. Yeah, go wear white on Wednesday.
I think you should. I might wear white. I don't know how to feel about Wednesday. You know what? Let's do like an extra couple minutes. Robyn, how do you think you're going to feel Wednesday? Because I can tell you right now, this entire time, I've been angry or indifferent, and I kind of refuse to cry because I don't want...
I don't know how I'm going to feel.
I don't think Alex deserves this. Deserves my tears.
I do not know how I'm going to feel. I feel like I've kind of reached a bit of acceptance at this point because, I had I had an emotional connection with this team being as a reporter as long as I have, but I never really considered myself a true fan like a lot of you guys have.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's why I kind of went through my emotions quicker. I might revert back pretty quickly because knowing, the end of an era is done. But I don't know. I really cannot tell you right now exactly how I'm going to feel. I will say, it was proposed to me. The host of Locked On Devils is going to be at this game as well, and has proposed a live post-game show from Mold Arena. There could be a chance that I might break down. Who knows? I might get a little, may not even break. I wouldn't say breakdown. Maybe choke up would be the correct term. Just kind of get emotional.
I still don't know. I remember being emotional at the last game in Glendale. I don't want to, again, I don't want to give like the satisfaction, but it's also like the thought, not of the team leaving, because again, I am under the impression, to be determined, I'm under the impression it's basically a we'll see you later, not we're not like a goodbye. And like
a lot of people are treating it as a goodbye, and rightfully so though, because it feels like, because those 3 to 5 years is going to feel like a long time.
It is. And like I said, if this team is back in 3 to 5 years, I will grit my teeth. I will learn to smile. I will learn to just be happy to cover AHL or whatever, like to have a version of the team here, right?
Yep.
And I don't know if it's just because I am now optimistic about that. I haven't cried yet. Come close once or twice. I hate to admit that. But actually being there, I do not know how I'm going to feel because I don't know if I might bring my original Shane Doan jersey, from when I was a small child. I don't know if the memories are going to come flowing in like I'm going to be 10 again at my first, or like technically years and years and years earlier when I ran out of my first preseason hockey game because they were doing fireworks in the bowl. Like, I don't know where I'm going to be mentally. I don't know if I'm going to be talking to a lot of Coyotes fans and giving a lot of hugs and get mushy. But you know what? Screw it. If you want a hug, so long as you ask first and do not grab my butt, you can give me a hug. I will give you a hug.
Look, I'm going to be there in a professional capacity, but I will hear you guys out. I will listen to your stories. I might even have a camera on me, and I can share, and then we'll share some favorite moments of that game on a future episode. I know, Matthew, you will no longer be co-host at that moment. This is your last episode, but you know, I'm just telling you, fans, like, if you find me and you want to talk to me and tell me a story, and we're willing to do it on if you don't want to do it on camera, and you still want to talk to me, sure. If you're willing to do it on camera, let me know. I'll take you up on it.
Robyn, is there anything else you want to talk about for my last episode before I jump off that bridge?
No, I'm good.
All right, later, everyone. This has been Locked On Coyotes. I have been the best co-host on Locked On Coyotes in the entire existence of this program. Maybe even the best personality on this program. Make sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com Locked On Coyotes. Make sure to check us out. We are on X for one last time. One singular X. The internet's a dark place. One singular X at LO_Coyotes. Robyn is personally at Robyn_Leonio. There is no Y there. I made the mistake once. I don't know why my brain wasn't working. I know the Enye. I know it because Enye makes that Y sound. I that's why I'm like, the back of my brain when I was spelling it, super tired one night. At ROBYN_LEANO on Twitter. I, for now, am at Coyote Matt 265, and you might see me under your local bridge in your local town.
And Matt, because this is your last episode, I am going to give you the opportunity.
And don't forget, you know what, Robyn? I'm going to make Robyn bleep me one last time. And don't forget to howl on.